2,000 years later.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I know it has been a while, and that is because us term 4 students are pulling through to the end now. We are finally about 3 weeks out from the end of term 4, and it has just been a long haul. You know, term 3 started in January. We got a 2-day break before we started term 4, and we've pretty much been going ever since. And so I wanted to hop on here, at least before we do take a break, and just kind of explain my experience so far, how I'm feeling about headed back to campus next month, and just give my tips and tricks that I've used along the way this past 6 months. And hopefully, those who are going into that term 3, right back to back term 4, can find some use out of this. Before I start, though, if you don't know, I actually work for Monster Energy as a Monster Energy girl, and this is not sponsored. This is just me because I got in a super cool promo package from them, and this is the new Monster Energy Aussie Lemonade. It is now hitting stores. So if you guys want to try a new flavor to stay awake, maybe beef up your studying, this is so good. I'm so excited that they sent me this, so that's really awesome. Again, not sponsored, but just wanted to share something fun with you guys. So term 4 is where everything really hit for me. It's where a lot of things started making sense because, you know, for the past year we've been learning so many different things, and now in term 4 we're actually applying them. It's like actually studying real medicine now and being able to make connections that were a little bit harder to make before. I think the number one thing that I use, especially in our first 3 modules of term 4, which were our FCTM, our CRS, and our RHS, was Anki, because we had a lot of pharmacology. We still have a lot of pharmacology in our DERS lectures. We're doing a lot of GI right now, and it's just a lot of pharmacology. So you're going to have micro, you're going to have pathology, and you're going to have pharmacology on each and every exam. And so if you can break each section down and separate it and study it that way, it's going to be the most beneficial. But just really reiterating and memorizing your drugs. And Anki was a very great tool for me to go ahead and do that. Now, when we moved into our CRS module and kind of our, our cardiovasculature, a lot of our different drugs and pharmacology, this is really where I struggled with a lot. And my kind of saving grace was utilizing the Google Drives, utilizing Sketchy Farm and Sketchy Micro here was very, very helpful for me, just because for some reason a lot of the cardio and renal just do not stick in my mind. Picking up first aid this term was pretty much a no question, you need to do it to really get a lot of things to stick. Now, term 4, there's a lot of lectures. There's like 138 lectures. We have almost 50 small groups. I will say the small groups, at least mine, when you have a good small group, they are so beneficial and great for you to retrieve a lot of information from and actually learn it in a better way from your peers, because lectures sometimes they speed through it, or there's just so much information on the slide that you can't really grasp the information well. But when somebody else is explaining it to me, or getting through small group and actually seeing that, is great. The next thing, outside of organizing yourself into those 3 parts, the path, the micro, and the pharmacology, is really paying attention now to your clinical skills. You know, we're moving into term 5 soon, we're moving into clinical soon. So this is really great to be paying attention to right now. Now, a lot of us are still online, so at least if you're still an online student, take that time to really read those out loud, read your rubrics out loud, even practice on another person. But since we're all going back to start the fall term in person, it is going to be a little bit different now, practicing on real people and patients. So I'm excited to learn that opportunity. But I think a lot of the skills in studying our clinical skills and preparing for our clinical assessments, especially for those of you who are in term 2 and you're going to be writing SOAP notes for the first time, or even in term 3, you haven't experienced that yet. you're still going to use these same kind of techniques that I've been using. And I take each and every small group, I take each simulation that we do. So what I'll do is I'll take the printouts from our small group, whether that's the simulation, your little door note and everything, and then they typically have the rubrics at the end. I utilize the rubrics to study because we have to voice everything when we are online. And then again, even though we're doing it in person down in Grenada, it is still going to help and be beneficial there. So what I do is if I'm doing an abdominal exam, I'm going to sit in my room and I am literally going to list out, okay, knock, 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 my name's Darian, I'm a second year medical student, do your whole introduction part, and then I start actually reiterating everything I learned for the abdominal exam, starting from inspection to auscultation to palpitation to percussion, and listing each step. If I happen to miss something or get it wrong, I will start all the way over from the beginning. So not only does this reiterate the information, but it kind of, in my mind, I'm like, okay, here's where I went wrong last time, and I remember this step now. So that's just another very good tip to kind of look out for. Soap notes, for those of you who are going into term 3 and term 4, these are very good to just practice with a timer, writing it out. I know our small group, when we went to our second soap exam, ended up getting less time than we should have. So we were all really, really shocked. So just being able to time yourself and keeping yourself kind of within the time limits or even sooner than that, just preparing for anything. That's something to get used to, and typing it out and learning a lot of your medical terminologies and shorthand are really going to help you here. From what I have learned on the soap notes, pretty much every facilitator that we talk to has a different input on a different section that we may have. So just referring back to the SGU printout that they've given you and just reading that through from beginning to end, fully making note of anything, please do that. If you are still struggling with writing your soap notes, email the clinical skills department. I don't have their email on hand, but you can find it in your courses online on Sakai. Go ahead and email them, set up an appointment. They're very good. They'll work with you. They'll go through the entire thing. They'll tell you what to add, what not to add, what words to leave out, how to explain certain things. So that is very highly recommended. So again, this is just a really quick video of my experience. I just wanted to hop on here and post something, and oh my gosh, this behind me, the number one thing that I have found that is so useful in term 3 and term 4 is actually whiteboarding. I stopped taking notes on my iPad because it was too time consuming, especially in term 4 with the amount of information that you have coming. And so I would do a weekly whiteboard. So all of the lectures for that week, I would try to condense them and put them on a whiteboard like this, as you can see. And then I would take a photo of it on my iPad and then stack those into, whatever notes that I wanted to on my iPad, so I could review those quickly at the end of each week, especially since, we're going for 4 weeks or even 6 weeks in our DERS module. So it's just really helpful, and the actual writing it out, as you guys know, really helps it ingrain in your mind instead of just kind of passively reading it. So it really forces me to learn the information instead of just thinking that I'm learning the information from passively reading it. So that is the last tip that I have. So break them into sections: your micro, your path, and your pharmacology. Do Anki and whiteboard and read everything out loud. When it comes to our clinical skills, do the same thing. Read through your small group printout, follow the rubric. If you mess up, go ahead and repeat. Term 4 is pretty much very repetitive. Every module, you're going to have the same setup and the same blocks of those topics. So just prepare for those each module. You'll do good. Attend your small groups. You're going to do fine with that because we're going to be in person down on the island, and just make the most of everything you can, because term 4 it's a long haul and it's a lot, but it's also fun because you start feeling like you're becoming a doctor and you're getting there, and now what you have learned actually matters when you do it. So as far as my feelings about going back to the island, I don't want to go, but you know what? I'm blessed that we have been able to stay online for as long as we have, and that we've had such a great university that has developed an online curriculum, especially for medical school. So I'm blessed. I'm super excited to meet a lot of the people in my small group and being on the island and getting hands-on with my patients, because that is such an important part of the job of being a doctor. A lot of students, whether you're applying, whether you're looking at SGU, whether you're in the nitty-gritty of it, are watching this video right now. So I always just want to encourage and be positive, especially as a Caribbean medical student. And no matter what walk of life you come from, if you have found yourself on the path and you have found yourself at SGU or any other Caribbean university, just remember at the end of the day, you're gonna have to work hard. There's no doubt about it. You're gonna have to work extra hard even, but you can get through it. You will get through it. We are all kind of in this boat of stress and anxiety, and are we gonna make it? There's so much stuff to do, but so many people before us, so many people after us, and so many people right now are doing it. So don't let anything discourage you. I am always about positivity, especially on the academic journey and the journey that people take to follow medicine. So I will be back on here to give a more in-depth analysis. I will be kind of recording my adventure of going to Grenada and getting settled and starting classes and living down there, and kind of all the fun and trials and endeavors that I'm going to experience for the next 4 months down there. And I'm excited to share that with you guys, and I'm so thankful that you guys tune in and ask me questions and email me and join in on my journey. So until next time, happy studying. Always drop questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer them when I can. If I miss it, know that I will get to it. And best of luck to all of the rest of our Term 4s, our Term 5s going into Step 1, and anybody coming into SGU. I will see you guys on campus in Grenada.